we wouldn't set sail without a map, or we wouldn't take a road trip without a GPS. So it would also be wise not to go through life without guidance. In order to become a virtuous person, we have to understand what the virtues are. In order to hit a target, we actually have to aim at it. So we can't leave it to happenstance or chance. Let's lock in. Today, I'm going to present to you a reality map and virtues that have helped me grow, and their antithetical vices, which have to be avoided. And you may have seen this diagram before. This is the Kabbalistic tree of life. And this is a Judeo-Christian symbol, which is very old, and we could fill libraries of books with information about this. And frankly, there are already libraries of books about this. You could get the Chicken Kabbalah by Lon Milo Duquette. You could get the Mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune, and many different other ones. Tree of Life by Israel Regardi, etc., etc. Basically, this is a reality map. This shows us how everything exists. All right, it gives you like a mental filing cabinet for your experiences within life. And this is the map. But do understand, the map and the terrain are not the same. Okay? Don't get lost in the sauce. But in any magnitude, we all come from somewhere, and then the divine source emanates down to earth, and we end up right here. So, beautiful stuff, man. And you can work with the different spheres of existence. You can work along the paths. These even correspond to the tarot cards. They go hard. 10 out of 10 recommend. If you are a tarot reader, you need to study this, because it's going to actually help you understand why you get the cards that you do for yourself or other people. But I digress. Malkuth, the garden. This is where we are right now. Each sphere of existence, each Sephiroth, each emanation from the divine will come with its own vision, its virtue, illusion, and a vice. Okay? And it's worth knowing. The vision of Malkuth is the knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel. In other words, your higher self. In order to become a person of virtue, you must understand first and foremost that you exist on multiple levels, and then strive to be the best level that you can be. You know, I said this yesterday on TikTok Live. You know, you could live life horizontally and just look at what everybody else is doing and just conform and just be part of the group and not really ask questions. Or you could crash out and be a demon. Or you could seek to do your best and walk the high road of success. So the vision of Malkuth is to attain the knowledge of, understand that you have a higher self, and then attain the conversation with this, create a dialogue with this holy guardian angel, this higher self, to know that you exist on multiple levels. And there's elaborate rituals you can do for this, or you could literally just call upon it in meditation. But a dialogue, this is an open conversation. You need to call on your higher self frequently. Build this relationship. The virtue of Malkuth is discipline. If there's only one word you take from this lesson, this video, it is discipline. Discipline. Everything sits on the roots of the tree. So there's no getting to Kether, no completing the great work if you don't master discipline. Mastery of anything requires discipline. What is discipline? Discipline is your ability to get your own cooperation. Discipline is your ability to put in the work, regardless if you want to do it, regardless if it feels good. All right, and this will lead us into the vices. If the virtue is discipline, the vice is inertia, idleness, not doing anything, laziness. Ooh, you see how they're antithetical? You avoid laziness, you become disciplined. After I make this video, I'm going into the gym. I'm in the parking lot right now. And then also there is illusions that come with the spheres as well. Discipline and discrimination are the virtues of Malkuth. Not only to be consistent, to put in that work, but also to use your intellect and be able to discern what things are for your best and highest good and what things do not serve. The illusion is materialism. We all live in the material world. We need stuff, at least temporarily. You live in the flesh suit. It's got to eat. It's got to sleep. You got to pay your bills, right? Materialism is an illusion. You can't identify with your stuff because you are not your stuff. You aren't even the body. The body is something you have. So that's definitely something to think about. And the path leading up from Malkuth goes to Yesod. This is the world card, by the way. And that leads you to Yesod. And this is the sphere of the moon. This is the astral body. And basically, this is the veil of the profane. Most people who live in the consensus state or are not willfully pursuing conscious evolution are going to be stuck below this veil on earth, like a rock, not knowing if they're coming or going. All right. And the vision of Yesod, the moon, is the vision of the machinery of the universe. To understand everything is interconnected, everything serves its purpose. And this is a difficult one for us to accept when we have challenges within life, problems with ourselves, conflict with other individuals, to be able to accept and realize that serves a purpose too. Even the things that you may hate serve a purpose. Even the things that frustrate you to no end, the things that cause you trauma, stress, and strife and grief, they serve a purpose. So that's the vision of Yesod. The virtue of Yesod is trust. 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 And I think it's worth to note that it's a hierarchy, man. What could be a virtue in one sphere could be a vice in another. And until we have an adequate level of discipline, trust could also play out negatively. Think about it. What if you don't exercise discrimination and just blindly trust and have faith in any and everybody? You could get taken off of your path. You might not be listening to the higher self's wisdom. So trust is very important. That's the virtue. The obligation is independence. The obligation of Yesod is independence. Okay? To serve yourself, to be free within one's self. The illusion of Yesod is security. And how crazy is that that runs antithetical to the virtue of trust? The illusion would be security. Nobody's safe. The world is a dangerous place. You can trust the universe. You can open your heart to the divine, but just know, security doesn't necessarily exist. You can find it in fleeting moments. You can feel it. You can be safe in certain moments, but we're not always safe. All right? So that's the thing to understand about the illusions, is that you may experience these things, but you have to learn how to overcome them and not suffer the negative consequences of them, such as materialism or security. The vices of Yesod is dependence. It's the exact opposite of the virtue. Independence, dependence, right? So to serve yourself, to become one within yourself, whole in yourself. Idleness is also the vice of Yesod, which also runs pretty parallel to Malkuth. And that makes sense with these being in the middle pillar. We avoid laziness, we avoid inertia, and we avoid idleness. Just sitting around doing nothing with our time. There's always something that you can be doing. You have great work to do. You have a purpose to live. You don't know what that is? Call on your higher self. You know? Simple, okay? And then the path up from Yesod goes to Hod, Mercury. And Hod is the vision of splendor. It's the magnificence of the universe, the splendor of the mind, the radiance of the intellect, okay? The virtue of Hod is learning. We have to learn in order to grow, period. Doesn't need much more clarification than that. The obligation of Hod is truthfulness, to be honest, to not lie. So guess what the illusion is? You could probably guess the vice. The vice was dishonesty, lying, falsehood. Don't do that. The illusion is order. I might have tricked somebody there. Yeah, I messed up the order. You know, you see patterns with your intellect. You get to realize how things work. As the universe expands, we reach increasing layers of complexity. We build more patterns. But the illusion to overcome is there really is no pattern. A lot of this stuff happens randomly. Even though you can correlate and compartmentalize life, order is the illusion to overcome. You may find order at times. You might find 2 + 2 = 4 in every circumstance by natural law. But just remember, man, order is the illusion. And then from Hod, we go to Netzach. Netzach is Venus, victory. And this is the vision of beauty triumphant. You could also say that this is the masculine pillar and this is the feminine pillar. And this is going to be your thoughts. This is your feelings. Beauty triumphant. This is how we feel. This is how we connect, basically. The virtue of Netzach is responsibility. Responsibility. The obligation, which runs parallel, the virtue, is unselfishness. Because love can be a very dangerous force when we have ulterior motives or are self-serving. We can seek to possess, we can seek to control, we can seek to manipulate. If we are not whole within ourselves and not honest, we can have issues with Netzach, okay? And then the illusion can be projection, where we start to point our fingers and blame others when it's really our own unresolved needs or misdirection. So the vice of Netzach is selfishness. Selfishness. And this is a challenging thing. We're going to get to the self in a second. Because you have needs. You have to take care of yourself. But ultimately, if you love through ulterior motives, you are not loving at all. Okay? The vices are selfishness, impurity, and unchastity. Being unrestricted when it comes to your indulgence. And you guys see how this falls right back on discipline, on self-control. So now we move up from Netzach to Tiphareth. And Tiphareth is beautiful. This is the vision of beauty, of harmony in the universe, beauty triumphant. And the vision of Netzach was beauty triumphant. But the funny thing about Tiphareth, it is called beauty. But the vision of Tiphareth is harmony in the universe. The virtue is understanding integrity. Understanding integrity. What does integrity mean? It's about doing the thing that you know is right to do, leading by your own internal moral compass. Regardless if it's easy, if it's convenient, if it's the fun thing to do, integrity. Integral. A lot of times when we talk about integrity, we talk about the structural integrity of something. What is it built out of? What are its internal parts? Does it serve? Is it strong? The vision, the virtue, I should say, is integrity. The obligation is dedication to the great work. Dedication to the great work. In order to live a life of integrity, you must develop dedication to the great work. And this means not 1 foot in, not 1 foot out, not doing this shit when it's convenient. The real test of your character is who you are on your worst day. When you're tired, when you don't feel good, when you're upset, when people hate on you, when people lie about you, when you face adversity, what do you do then? That's a test of your character and integrity. Dedication. Okay? Sacrifice is a big part of Tiphareth, and this is difficult for people because it can make them feel like their life is not their own. What does harmony mean even? Harmony means living in accordance with all other living things. To have some level of equanimity, to serve your place in the machinery of the universe. To recognize it's not just about you, but by fulfilling your God's given purpose, you'll have a more fulfilled life. And everybody else will benefit from your life as well. The illusion to overcome with Tiphareth, which is the sun's energy, is identification. Identification is the illusion. Because we can identify with all types of stuff on our journey. our accomplishments, our possessions, our struggles, our strife, our failures. Identification is the illusion to overcome with Tiphereth. The vice is false pride. False pride. And let's be clear, it's okay to be proud of your accomplishments. It's okay to be proud of yourself. One good deed deserves another. If you don't value the good things in life, you won't seek to gain them anymore. So pride is not necessarily a bad thing. False pride is a bad thing. When you over-identify with your accomplishments or think that you're better than you are, it becomes false pride. That becomes arrogance. And we'll talk about that in a second. Up from Tiphereth is Geburah. This is Mars energy. Mars represents our drive. The vision of Geburah is the vision of power. And the vice is destroying things, wanton destruction. The vision is strength or power or might. The virtue is courage. In order to use your personal will, you have to be strong. You have to be brave. It's easy to get stuck in any sphere, gang, especially this one. Because when we get to the sphere of Tiphereth, everything's love and light, everything's harmony, everything is balanced in kumbaya. But destruction is part of creation. So it can be very intimidating or scary to exert your own will in the world. So therefore, the virtue is courage. The obligation is courageous behavior. Same thing, basically. The illusion to overcome with Geburah, with Mars, is invincibility. Because when power becomes identified with, we think there's nothing that could stop us. And maybe your true will can't be stopped. Maybe your divine purpose will exist forever. But you still live in the material world, bound by time and space, and things can slow you down. And like I said, the vice is wanton destruction, just trying to destroy things and exert your power. Your power becomes cruel. And it's important to know that the pillar of severity and the pillar of mercy have to be balanced within. Severity without mercy becomes cruelty. But mercy without severity becomes weakness. So this is why it's great to walk the path of mildness or integration. But in order to do that, you have to be able to reach left and right as well. And I think we'll save the supernal triad just because this is a lot to take in already. But when we move from Geburah, we go to Hesed across the strength path, the strength card, Leo energy, all right? And Hesed is the vision of love. Hesed is compassion. It's the ability to accept and offer a benevolent, positive attitude towards life, to recognize the divinity within life. The vision of love. The virtue is humility. Humility. To be humble, to recognize your place in the order of creation, Jupiter energy. The obligation is obedience, which feels very parallel to the lower virtues. To listen to the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel and to follow suit, obedience, to do what you're told. I read in Stephen Arroyo's book on Jupiter, life is really easy when you're easy in your harness. Think about it. The illusion is self-righteousness. Self-righteousness. And I think it's kind of funny because if you go from Tiphereth to Hesed, that's the Virgo path. That's the hermit energy. It's easy to feel like we're perfect when we are in this energy. When we see the divinity inside of ourselves, to be self-righteous. And then the vice to avoid becomes bigotry, tyranny, hypocrisy, gluttony. Without humility, this loving, generous power becomes hypocrisy and bigotry, self-righteousness, and gluttony, overindulgence. So we seek the path of mildness. And we go on and on, man, but let's keep the supernals for later and talk about that some other time. You could do your own research. Strongly recommend, because when you get to Da'ath, you have to have your own knowledge over yourself and over the world. And what's the vision of Hod? What's the virtue here? What's the obligation? You always have to learn. So I hope this helps. Hope this gave you some guidance. Nothing's gonna work if you don't. Discipline is the virtue that you want to develop. Because without this, nothing else can stand in your life. Discipline, discipline, discipline. And the best, because I'll get this comment, I know I will. What's the best way to build discipline? Simply the best way to build discipline is to wake up on time. The way you start your day is how the rest of the day is going to unfold. So when that alarm goes off and your head is on that soft pillow and you want to go back to sleep, get your ass up and start your day right. And follow through with the words that you say. Live a life of integrity. Tippereth energy. Trust your place in the universe. Don't be selfish. Be humble. Be courageous. Always learn. Stop fucking up your own life. I love y'all. It's Mr. Meyer with the fire. Here to take the collective vibration higher. Let's get to the gym. Let's get it in.